Man, I'm so hungry. I need somewhere to eat fast. I have no idea where to go.
Psst. Hola, me llamo El Taco de Taco. You know where to go for the amazing taste that I have.
Welcome, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. My name is Andrew Valentin, and I hope you're all having a fantastic Friday. It's fine. We are coming to you live here from the Illinois Media School here in the O'Hare campus again, everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic Friday. And yes, it's Friday. As I'm sure you've noticed, we are here back on two shows a week. We're going to try to make this as consistent as we can. It's all going to be due to whatever scheduling issues we can work out and all that stuff, but that's kind of the plan. And this is going to be our Short Fuse Fridays. That's what I'm going to be dubbing these. They used to be the Short on Sports. I'm going to call these the Short Fuse Fridays. Quick show, just wrap through some of the big news, talk about some of the big stuff, and, of course, answer your fan questions, which, by the way, if you're seeing this stream, you guys can find us on YouTube and on Twitch. We are at youtube.com/xbombsports and on twitch.tv/xbombsports as well. You guys can also follow us at xbombsports on Twitter and on Instagram, too. And if you have any questions or comments as well that you want to throw at the Twitch, the YouTube, and the social media stuff is the place to be. But if you also want to ask your questions, which you guys do, you can hit us up at the email at xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys there, too. Guys, we got a lot to talk about, so let's just jump right into it since we got a quick show to burn through here. The first one we're going to talk about here is the World Series. Yes, believe it or not, baseball has officially come and gone. And we have now found out who are the champions of the world. Yes, it was, of course, the Los Angeles Dodgers. In 5 games, they take down the New York Yankees 4-1, in Game 5. And what a miraculous Game 5 it was indeed. Down 5-0 in the series. Looking like the Yankees may be able to finally pull off the impossible comeback. No one's ever came back from down 3-0, of course, right? Well, the Yankees were denied after a series of mishaps and fumbles and just maybe some darn good pure luck coming from the baseball gods. Gave the Dodgers back a lead to win it 7-6 in Game 5, and they hoist the mighty trophy up nice and light. And honestly, it kind of came as a non-surprise, I guess I have to say. Like, I think the Dodgers were always going to be favored no matter what because of the players they were able to acquire in the offseason, right? Ohtani, Yamamoto, those guys certainly helped propel them. And, you know, a lot of people would say that this is like a star-studded Hollywood team, right? And I've heard those comparisons, but I don't know. I think it's actually the opposite. I think the Yankees are kind of the Hollywood power team that's been put together that's kind of like the big force that's in charge, right? And look, watching this World Series, and I watched every game of it, and I enjoyed every bit of it thoroughly, there were a lot of things that came to note for me on what went right for the Dodgers and kind of what went wrong for the Yankees, right? You could see it. There was certainly a huge dynamic between the two of them in terms of how things shifted, how the teams were playing, who felt like they had kind of the energy, the juice, if you will, whatever you want to call it. And the other one just, it looked like they were staring like a deer in the headlights almost. So on the Dodgers side of things, you have a team who collectively, you know, I don't know how many times I've used this, but you know, I've been talking this week and since last week, I think now about, you know, the performance of a TV show and a movie and, you know, what makes those movies and TV shows so great, right? What gets them to be these Academy Award, Golden Globe, Oscar nominating, you know, movies and TV shows. Well, it's the performances the actors give, but it's also, are the writers good? Are the directors good? Are the producers good? Well, I think it's fair to say from top to bottom, the Los Angeles Dodgers might be one of the best productions we've seen in baseball in years, right? I mean, this team has been put together head to toe to be a team, compete as a team. And a lot of that credit goes to that front office, but I will also make sure that credit is given to the manager, Dave Roberts, who I think we can finally start saying that this man is the best manager in baseball. If you haven't said it already, I think it's time now that you start saying those exact words, folks, because it's true. And this World Series proved it, right? The Dodgers showed so much in winning this World Series. They're second, by the way, in 5 years. They're second in 5 years. Now, I know people want to say, COVID, shortened season, asterisk. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, for what we have seen from this team, no, I'm sorry. You can't. You can't throw that at me and tell me it's raining, okay? I'm not going to buy into that. This team was destined to do some incredible things. They win the World Series the first time around. Fine. You want to write it off? Okay, I'm not going to argue with anybody else against that anymore. But from what I saw from this group, this was the legit one. They tore the Yankees apart. And the way that they are built shows it. They have the superstars just like the Yankees, of course, right? Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, right? Yamamoto, I think, certainly falls in that category. They've got their stars, but what you really see in between the lines, right, are the Gavin Lux, right? The Will Smith, right? Hernandez, Taylor, right? You go down the list, Edman. You find these guys and you find yourself going, well, look, they're not all superstars. They're not all big-name guys, but they're getting the job done. They're getting on base. They're getting hits. They're doing damage against their rotation. And then you go to you go to the Dodgers rotation itself, and it's very average after Yamamoto. Right? It's very average. I mean, Walker Buehler is still a good pitcher, but let's be honest that the rest of that rotation is not anything you would kind of scream home about. But what that bullpen did in help was incredible. And that's where Dave Roberts, being the manager in this World Series, he showed why he should be, I think, the best manager in baseball. Why he should be considered that. Because look at how well he had, well, it was like 9 different pitchers at one point in a game going through, just poking and prodding holes in the Yankees team, making them look silly and pathetic. My favorite thing watching of that World Series was watching Yamamoto versus Aaron Judge, and watching as Yamamoto just like a lion toying with its food, right? Just you know what's going to happen here. But you just saw he was playing with him, right? The fastball and then hitting him with breaking balls, and he's just swinging at it like he's golfing. I mean, it was something. It was something to watch, and it really, if you're a team out there who's struggling to find a manager, and we know there's a few out there that are trying to find that next guy up, like Dave Roberts is a guy that you definitely want to kind of watch the tape on, study, learn from. Right? Build off of. This is a manager that impacts your team. He gets you wins with his decision making. Now, he's not perfect by any means. Of course, he's made some questionable decisions, but when you consider the world he comes from, being that Terry Francona is the analytical guy who mixes the baseball knowledge together and makes a nice little, blended drink together, like, you could definitely see why Dave Roberts maybe was drinking the Kool-Aid of Terry Francona, and why he's become one of the best managers in baseball, and why he has been able to get the Dodgers in a position where, yeah, they haven't won a lot of World Series titles. Okay, sure. But the fact that they have been so competitive, and there's still a want there for this team to want to be at the top, and that stars are still looking at them saying, we want to be a part of that. That says a lot for him. That says a lot for the front office. That says a lot for that team. I mean, Freddie Freeman, he was like plus 3,000 or something like that for MVP. He crushed it. He made history. When are you going to see that again? Can that happen again? This feels like a mic drop moment for Freddie Freeman. Like, dude, retire. I don't know if you'll ever get as big a moment as this. He's not going to, but like, this is your kind of pinnacle moment in your career. I feel like Freddie Freeman. This feels like it's it. I'm intrigued to see what more comes from them. On the meantime, though, on the opposite side of this, you had the Yankees, who, what's the right word for them? Imploded, collapsed, self-destructed, trip falling down the stairs. I really don't know. I mean, there's all these other phrases I'm sure we could come up with. They choked. In a lot of ways, they definitely it was definitely them choking. Look, the Yankees from the get-go on the season, there felt like there was something off. But hey, we got Juan Soto, and you pair him with Aaron Judge, and you got Anthony Rizzo, right? And you got a lot. Here's the difference, folks. The Dodgers built for the baseball world. They can be champions multiple times over because that's how this team has been put together. The Yankees, once again, to kind of mention the production thing, you put a couple of stars together and hoped that it was going to be a good movie, and it turned out everyone went, man, the Yankees kind of stink. Like, you really break it down to it, they were not good at all really this year. They weren't really all that great. They struggled with fielding. They struggled with base running. But Aaron Judge hits almost 60 home runs on the year. Oh, man. Juan Soto is having a hell of a season. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Garrett Cole pitching lights out at times. Yeah, of course. How's everybody else doing? Remember when they got Jazz Chisholm and they thought, like, oh, that's a move that's going to help us? Non-factor. Nobody. And I like the guy. I like the guy a lot, but what did he do? I was shocked when Volpe came up with a grand slam. I forgot the dude was even on the team. That's how much that's how much he means to me, obviously. It goes to say a lot about the Yankees when your stars are not really performing at the highest level. Judge was atrocious at the plate. And then, of course, even worse is you cap it off with an error in the outfield, which now that's going to start stirring up concerns on, well, should this guy even be playing out there? I mean, good question. Good thing to throw out there. And this really, for me, this really all comes back to one thing. Culture. Like the Yankees, you know, I've been saying this all week to a lot of people. No disrespect. But I see this a lot with a lot of NFL teams and a lot of sports franchises out there that don't win a lot of championships. They like to trot out the old school guys every once in a while, right? They like to put them on the field and be like, give it up for the 72 Dolphins. Yeah. The modern day NFL fan, I'm sure, does not know who those guys are. Right? And a lot of those guys now are passing away, but for those that aren't big name famous dudes, can you name any of them? Could you name any of those guys? You know, again, no disrespect to anybody, but as much as we may love the 1985 Chicago Bears, is the modern day NFL fan going to know who Gary Fensick and Dan Hampton is? As much as, yeah, they might be in the Hall of Fame, are you going to know who they are? And that's what it feels like with the Yankees. It feels like they are hanging on to a past that no longer exists with modern-day Yankee fans that could care less, right? Oh, yeah, we respect Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez. Nobody probably remembers who Lefty Grove was or Whitey Ford. You probably know Yogi Berra, but you probably know him because you're probably thinking of Yogi Bear, the cartoon, right? or Joe DiMaggio. The Yankee that you all know is probably Babe Ruth, because why? Everybody knows Babe Ruth. Everybody knows the great Bambino. But that's the thing. They're holding on to a past. I mean, this is a team that installed a rule in 1976 because George Steinbrenner said, I want my guys clean-shaven, only mustaches, cut their hair. Why? Got to be presentable. I mean, it takes a lot of the individuality out of the game, doesn't it? I get it. You want your guys to be non-distracting. You want them to be, viewed as being proper, and you want them to be marketable and all that stuff. But come on, guys. That's a past that no longer exists anymore. The times of clean-shaven, that's got to end. Now, yeah, it's a little unique, but it just says everything about, I think, where the Yankees are at. They're stuck in the past of, well, if we just have these few superstars over here and fill it with a lot of average dudes, well, something will happen, right? Well, they made it to the World Series. That's great. But you didn't win it. It's 14 years now since they've won the World Series? 14 years? I mean, at what point did the Yankees finally go to Brian Cashman and go, look, are you going to fix this thing? Are we going to finally win the championship or not? Because now your stars are getting older. Judge is going to get on the wrong side of 30 here soon. Stanton, I don't know how much longer you can keep hoping that he's going to crank out home run after home run. Because he's 36, 37? Hitting well below the Mendoza line? How much longer is Garrett Cole going to be willing to stick around? And Juan Soto said after the game, after he was asked if he was going to do free agency, he said, yeah, all 30 teams are on the table, which I don't believe that at all. But that basically says, like, hey, man, that doesn't mean I'm coming back to the Yankees. It's a problem. It's a problem for the Yankees and their history. To be so closely connected with each other, to me, it feels off. It feels wrong. It feels like they're going to go in circles because they got to get Yankee guys. And a lot of this, I think, too, is because of the ownership. I know George Steinbrenner Sr.'s gone, but his son is such a diplomat. He's such a man who wants to be seen satirically proper, right? The suit has to be just right. The hair has to be just right. All of that stuff has to be just perfect for him. I have a problem with guys who try to do the business side of things and think they know baseball, and then ultimately, because of, they're trying to force everything on everybody else, they're not trying to make any sort of moves to help improve the team, and then ultimately things collapse. And that's where I feel like they're at right now. The Yankees are kind of just spinning the drain. When it finally hits rock bottom, we'll find out. We'll see. This was a good one, though, for the Dodgers. Congrats on them. They deserve it. They played great baseball. And now the question becomes offseason. What happens next? What moves will be made? Will Juan Soto be a Dodger? I mean, geez, folks, if it couldn't get any worse, right? But, hey, sometimes if you can't beat them, join them. I mean, it's not like Kevin Durant going to the Golden State Warriors was a big problem, right? Ratings still went up. Just, food for thought, folks. Food for thought. All right. We're going to go to break, but because of time, we're going to skip the break if you guys don't mind. We'll answer these questions real quick for you guys because it's fan question time, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We are answering your fan questions. We're only going to get to the first two. We're going to save the third one for another time. No goofy ones this time, even though I got the boys in here with us as well. So no fish comments, nothing like that on this one. Sorry, guys. So quick questions coming from our fans. So the first one, this is coming from our man Kyle. Kyle is coming in from Ames, Iowa. I'm so sorry, Kyle. Kyle is asking us the question. He said, you use this term of defining or defined quarterbacks. I was wondering what you thought of the 2025 quarterback class. Do you think that they will live up anywhere to the hype of what we have seen so far from this year's quarterback class? Okay, well, so first off, this quarterback class still has a lot of work to do, and they still have a lot more road to go down. But they look good so far. Nothing too terrible, I would say. I mean, we haven't seen Penix Jr. McCarthy's hurt. But, yeah, the other four guys, the other guys seem to be doing good. They seem to be doing the job. They look like quarterbacks that can play in the NFL and maybe be franchises. Next year's group is an interesting one because I don't really know if there's one specific standout. Like, it feels like it's a 1B, 1C. Like, I can't even say 1A. We got to, like, knock it down a level, right? So, okay, like a 2A, 2B, right? Or not 2B. That's stupid. That's because Scotty's here. I know, cheap shot, I know. Sorry about your pants, Scotty. I heard that. I mean, look, some of the guys in this class, right? You've got Cam Ward coming from Miami, right? Shedeur Sanders coming from Colorado. You've got Quinn Ewers out of Texas, Jalen Milrose coming out of Alabama, Jackson Darts from Ole Miss, Garrett Nussmeyer's from LSU, Drew Aller potentially might be coming out maybe from Penn State. There's a lot of guys on this list as far as quarterbacks go that you could look at and you can definitely go like, man, they got some potential. Man, they got some skill. And I've seen mock drafts where like 4 quarterbacks I think are going now in the first round, maybe 5. The problem I see with this group, though, is that there's a lack of an it factor that I saw with the previous group, right? Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix even, although I'm suspect on him. JJ, suspect on him. And Michael Penix Jr., still suspect on him. Those guys, though, still have something about them that goes, yeah, but they might, right? They might. This group kind of feels like, well, not right now, but like year 3, right? Like they're in that kind of group where it's not immediate per se, but probably by that 3rd, 4th year per chance, they've hit the pinnacle. Or not the pinnacle, I should say, but their growth is now being seen. They're starting to have success. Please. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, not even enough to really consider for anything. Yeah. I no, do. Yeah, right. A lot. Yeah. That's a good question. Is there a developmental problem in the? And I heard the guys on FS1 and all over the place, right? ESPN, everybody's talking about, is there a developmental problem? I don't know if it's a developmental problem. I think this is where we're getting into like overload, right? So many quarterbacks are now coming out ready from high school, from the jump, from the get-go, and they get into college and they play well. Well, the problem is if you found a guy that you like in the pros already and you're paying him, why do you need another quarterback? So we're constantly getting a fluctuation of more guys coming in. And then teams are coming up, I think, with excuses on saying, well, do we need to bail? Like Anthony Richardson. Do you need to bail on Anthony Richardson? Not necessarily. Benching him, I think, is a great idea. Allows him to sit, allow him to learn, allow him to grow. It's something that Vince Young's admitted he never did when he was a Tennessee Titan, and I've compared him to Vince Young. Cam Newton has said, look, I sat and studied, but the ultimate thing is he used a lot of his athleticism to survive. Anthony Richardson falls in that same category. Maybe he just needs to sit, learn, watch film, take a breath. Because he was immediately from the gut-go, it was, you're in. 4th overall. Yeah, he does. He does like taking breaks. He does. And I'm not going to, listen, I was a little harsh on him from the start. Was like, ooh, that's obviously not a good look. You don't want that. But really his big problem is, I don't think he's learned how to be an NFL quarterback. The process is not there. Could he do it? Of course. Will he is the question. So I don't know if it's maybe a developmental problem. It's just there's such an over-surmounting amount of quarterbacks now coming in that are talented that if you don't have it immediately, you're out the door, right? Like we saw Josh Rosen, right? He got 1 year. You didn't prove it? Well, Kyler Murray's coming in that next year. Kyler Murray is the guy. right? And you can maybe say, well, he's not. Well, no, he's played pretty well so far. He did get them to a playoff game. They have been good with him at quarterback. Yes, he's not maybe Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or any of these guys, Josh Allen, but he's getting the job done, and clearly the Cardinals are committed to him. If they weren't, they wouldn't pay him the money. Otherwise, they would say, hey, like Josh Rosen, we're done with you. We're moving on. I think it's just a matter of there's so many guys coming in that are very talented that teams are convincing themselves, well, maybe we need to move off that guy, right? Because does Bryce Young really need to get traded? You could make an argument for that, certainly. He has not played well at all. He may be overwhelmed by the NFL. He may need to go to a different team maybe. But I don't know, should Carolina really give up on? I mean, you give up on him after the trade you just made with the Bears? That's not a good look, of course. But if you get a Cam Ward, like people are projecting he would be the number one pick to Carolina, and he turns out to be the guy that takes them from here to here, well, then of course you would be happy you made that move. I mean, and that's the problem, right, is that you're kind of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, right? It's because if Cam Ward turns out to be nothing, but you draft him, well, then they're going to hate you. But he turns out to be something, but you didn't draft him and you stuck with Bryce Young, well, now they don't like you. The hope is then that he's something, but Bryce Young's then something. And that's the issue right now. So, I mean, I do think there's developmental potential. There is a potential developmental problem, perhaps, because a lot of guys are running on a shotgun now, so when they go under center, the timing's off. I can see it. When they drop back, footwork is all off. It does not look pretty. I see it with Caleb. I see it with Jaden. I see it with a lot of these guys. You run a lot of shotgun, and all of a sudden you go from that to under center. Man, it's a different world all of a sudden with these guys. But no, that's a good point, Nick. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And thank you, Kyle, for the question, man. I appreciate that too. All right, last question we're going to answer. This comes from Daniel. Daniel is from Bloomington, Indiana. He said, what the hell? He said, explain to me, please, why Curt Cignetti is having so much success at Indiana. Sure, easy question. I'll answer it right here and now for you. He's a very good coach, and nobody seemed to recognize it until now. This guy is old school, legit, Urban Meyer, Nick Saban. I'm going to work these guys. I'm going to make them earn it. And bringing in all these new dudes, too, from the transfer portal has worked. 34 guys transferred to Indiana. 13 of 34 are starting on the team right now. One of them is their quarterback, who on most competitive teams right now would probably be a third-string, maybe backup quarterback. But at Indiana, you could make the argument he might be a Heisman finalist by the end of the season. Andrew, that's crazy. Indiana has a quarterback that might be, 14 touchdowns, 2 picks. One of the most accurate quarterbacks in college football. They're undefeated. If they keep playing this way, they may win the Big Ten. I think Curt Cignetti is just the perfect coach for what Indiana needed because he brings in his culture, his program, he captures what they're doing, he lights it up, and they play hard for him. You can see it. There's guys on that team that absolutely you don't know their names at all, but you know them now because they're playing their butts off. Because that team has become so interesting, and it's because of him. And the work he's done in corralling those guys and creating those opportunities and giving them a chance to be able to play at their highest. It's incredible to watch. It's amazing to see the work he's done. The work ethic he has as a scout, too, and a coordinator for the recruiting process is incredible. And it's what's leading people to believe that he's going to go off and maybe get the Florida job. Or I've predicted if Ryan Day comes out of this year with a complete bust of a 3-loss season, he's probably getting canned. And there's another great job sitting right there for Curt Cignetti to take over. I said this last time. I think this dude is the Godfather. He's the Don. That dude walks around like he's in command. He wants things done his way, and you're going to do it. If you don't, you're gone. You're done. It's incredible to watch him work. Look at him on the sidelines when Indiana scores that last touchdown against Nebraska, right, to make it 56-7. He doesn't move a muscle. He didn't smile. He didn't cheer up. He didn't do anything. What? It says a lot about his mentality. It says a lot about where that team's at. So, Daniel, I think you can be a happy, happy man right now to say that you can say the Hoosiers are potential contenders for the Big Ten and maybe for a national championship, which that would be crazy. Like if we got an Indiana Army national championship, do you know how bad college football, the CFP they would explode. Their heads would spin and lift off their necks like bottle rockets. There's no way they would ever let that happen. But it could. It could, because everybody is now utilizing the transfer portal. Everybody's utilizing all of the techniques of NIL, and they're using that to their advantage. Now, yes, that stuff still needs some coaxing. They still need some rules and regulations. But for what he's done with Indiana, you got to give him the biggest props possible. He's got to be coach of the year. They're undefeated. Indiana is undefeated. You don't stay long if you're able to do that. I mean, even if he loses 2-3 games at this point, people have seen what he can do. They know what's up. Put him at a program which has huge resources like Ohio State or Florida or any other top program out there that may want to hire him. I mean, he's probably knocking it out of the ballpark. That guy took James Madison from when they were just like an average team and propelled them to national identity. He's doing it now again for Indiana. Give a man his props. He's putting in work. That's a lot more than I can say for Brian Kelly or a lot of the other coaches out there. This guy gets the best out of his talent. He knows he's the baddest you-know-what on the block, and he's not afraid to strut his stuff. And apparently he'll fight you to the bitter end. And that's what I like about him. That's why I think he has success. No fear. No fear. He's not flinching. He's waiting for the other guy to talk. He's waiting for the other guy to flinch. He's waiting for the other guy to make the move. It's incredible. It's a great story. It's what's helping to make college football this year so incredible and so outstanding to watch. Love it. Absolutely love it. Thank you, Daniel, for the questions. Thank you, Kyle, for the questions. And, folks, that's going to do it for the show. I know, quick one. But we got to get out of here because we're going to do a quick blow-the-whistle show probably. If the guys still want to do it or not, we'll see. Yeah, we're good then. If that's the case, then we'll see you on the blow-the-whistle side. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. If you guys did enjoy this, please make sure, leave a like, leave a comment. We want to hear from you guys as always. Guys, if you want to obviously comment on any of this stuff, the World Series, the quarterback situation for next year, the Curt Cignetti success. We got more stuff we're going to talk about, more questions we're going to answer for Fridays. Again, going to try to make this a regular thing. Check us out here on the YouTube side. That's youtube.com/xbombsports. We're also on the Twitch side at twitch.tv/xbombsports. You guys can always catch us every Monday and now hopefully every Friday or every Friday when we can hit it. Again, be on the lookout for that too. Social media at xbombsports, Instagram, Twitter. Like us, follow us, leave us comments, leave us questions, and any comments or questions, too, that you want to hit us up with the email side with because it's a little bit longer. It's xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. Real quick, too, check out our boys at Bad Karma Wrestling, of course, BK Dub. Go check out the boys. David Dykstra, Nick Johnston reviewed one heck of a week in wrestling. Go check it out, guys. They just did their show before us. Absolutely phenomenal. Killed it. Go check them out. Give them some like, give them some love. I know you guys have been asking some questions for them on the wrestling side. We will definitely get to those questions, folks. Don't you fret. We will get to those questions for you guys, ladies and gents. I promise you. Also on that as well, too, make sure to go check out as well Blow the Whistle. Going every Monday and every Friday. We're doing all the talks on all the sports stuff. Probably going to be recycling a lot of what we talked about here on the show, so be on the lookout for that, ladies and gents. And with that as well, too, I think that's going to wrap it up. So thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. It has been a pleasure. I'm glad to be back on 2 shows a week. Again, see how much this works. But we will see you guys, as always, on the next show. And as always, much love. Peace out, Boom Crew.
Have you craving more? Taco Bell.